Hi, everybody. I'm Q, and welcome to my tapes. I don't know how I feel about all of this posthumous music, art, movies from people who have passed away. And in the title, I mentioned Anthony Bourdain and Pop Smoke, and I just kind of want to talk about it because I feel like we're gonna end up talking about the nature of exploitation again, and how I just feel like, why is this happening? Like, is there nobody else that you guys could find? Is there nobody else? Can we just kind of let this alone? Also, like, what's going on with people's estates? I think at this point, if there are entertainers or musical artists kind of going out there and creating something and creating a name for themselves, at this point, I feel like if you really do not like the idea that there could possibly be a possibility that exists, okay, in some world, in a dimension, that your imagery or your voice will be used posthumously or could be put into some like AI algorithm like generator to read off scripts, Anthony Bourdain. I feel like this is something that maybe you need to start putting into like legal documentation. Like, no, I don't feel comfortable with you using my likeness and my voice after I'm dead. God forbid y'all find a loophole. My estate needs to benefit from this. My family or whoever it is that's, can reap whatever you've sown. But yeah, let's talk about it. I don't really know how I think that's it. I don't really know how I feel about the idea that there are people who are dead and their likeness is just like continuously being used. Like, I'm still hearing songs being put out. I literally just saw one of, I believe, Pop Smoke's like former producers. They're releasing like a song that he did. And I'm like, you're talented. Can you work with anybody else? Can you work with anybody else? I think how I feel about this in certain ways is wrapped into how I feel about AI or like those generated kind of like models like a few years back, like people, there was this whole like discrepancy and kind of controversy around like these kind of 3D models replacing or being stand-ins for actual models, and people were just like, well, yeah, like, they're easier to fit clothes, they're quote unquote easier clients. But I'm like, no, like a whole company is behind some generated like automaton. It's not like me where I'm like a real person and like I'm not really doing this for like the sake of consumerism. Like, you know what I mean? And unlike what I feel like these automatons are, these like robots, these like 3D generated kind of essentially images and renderings being created by these companies for the sole purpose of selling products, which some people could say that is the purpose of like an influencer, even though I don't really know if this is true. Maybe because not all influencers are influencers, but maybe like they create art, they create content. I feel uncomfortable. I feel very, very uncomfortable. And that feeling of like uncomfortableness that I feel like I hear from YouTubers saying, like, why are these like company backed renderings of imagery and videos? These companies are claiming, oh, they're going to replace us because they're more family, quote unquote, friendly, which I have thoughts. I feel like that's a dog whistle term. There's a video that As Told by Kenya made about this. Like, what does that mean at being family friendly? Really, what does that mean if you're not white? So definitely go and check that out. So yeah, that type of uncomfortableness that I feel like I hear, and the anxiety and that sense of caution of like, there's something about this that I can't quite put my finger on, and it's not even a matter of me not being secure with myself, but it's like I don't know where this is going. That's how I feel. Recently, let's talk about Anthony Bourdain and then end on Pop Smoke in terms of just like the music industry. Anthony Bourdain had written something when he was still alive, and not his estate, but I guess the people and the entertainment partners and distributors and publishers that had worked with him had used clips of this man's voice when he was alive and when he was in a show, and put it into a like it's like a type of like AI voice kind of generator to essentially make him read out these words as well as like a few other things. And I don't know if you guys have kind of seen these like AI voice generators pop up where they essentially composite all this like data from like certain like artists speaking or rapping, and essentially you could essentially put in like text, put in like different types of text, and it would essentially sound like them speaking or rapping. Like, and I don't know, I think if I can get the name, I'll post it, but I believe like people have to sign up with the service using like their Discord or something like that and like share their like license or whatever, you know what I mean? Which maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that you have to share like your personal identifiable information for something like this. And it's just like, I feel like this is dangerous. There's something about this that makes me very uncomfortable. There's something about this that screams like maybe like a human rights violation. Something about this that screams like unethical. Something about this that screams like unnecessary and unregulated. And it makes me uncomfortable. So Anthony Bourdain, they had made him read out this text, I think amongst like a few other things. And it's just like, why would you do something like this? Why would you do something like this? And if I'm recalling this properly, Anthony Bourdain, when he was alive, he was like, I think like, once again, like, just like, not just like, but for example, like Michael Jackson, he was like, I don't really like the idea of me being presented as a hologram of any sort or some sort of like imagery after I pass. Maybe if people want to play my music or my music videos, they can, but I don't want people putting me in this type of imagery. And he was clear about that. Only for his imagery to present it as a hologram. As a hologram dancing on stage to quote unquote perform with somebody. And it's just like, why? I think that was either Michael Jackson or Prince. But why? And also Prince did say the same thing as well. Prince also had a lot of issues with the way that these companies utilize his imagery because he saw a lot of exploitation in the entertainment industry. So back to Anthony Bourdain. Same thing. I don't really want my voice or my words being misconstrued. I really want to just say what I say in the form that it was written. And if you have any questions, you can just go back to the medium in which I have given consent to distribute and publish in this manner. Never did I think like, wow, like they are going to use this man's voice from these cooking shows and explorations that he's done around the world, compile all of them and render them into some sort of pseudo generator of his voice to read out words. The same thing about like, there's like this film coming out with this, like, I think, actor that died, and they're essentially using like their images to make their face and mouth move. And it's like, why? Why don't you just hire somebody else? Why don't you just hire somebody else? And that kind of brings us to, I believe, like Pop Smoke. And I think I'll kind of end here. The same thing with Pop Smoke. He has passed. And so far, I'm pretty sure I've counted about, I think this is about like the 4th song now that has come out posthumously. And it makes me super, super uncomfortable. And now we can talk about estate. Is his estate the people, the beneficiaries of his work? Like, does he have beneficiaries of his work? Who are because you know the reason why they keep putting out these music, it's not just for kicks, it's for money. It's for money. Pop Smoke was extremely talented. Pop Smoke was extremely talented. He was starting to do stuff. He was starting to push certain things, push certain work that people started to say like, wow, like you can make music like this. People started to notice that. And there are a couple of artists that you hear, like Kid Cudi, like certain people that you hear, Kanye West, where it's just like really interesting. Like, what are you doing? Azealia Banks, what are you doing? Like, this is kind of interesting. What are you doing? People started to ask this question, like, I see it. I can see like really interesting work. People rever Pop Smoke. I don't even know, like there are whole artists like across the country, as well as like overseas, that specifically want to sound like Pop Smoke. People really, really looked up to him and the way that he was able to work on his craft and showcase his craft as a rapper, as a writer, as a lyricist. This is now like, I believe, the 4th sound, the 4th music, that song that has been published and distributed. This man is dead. What are we doing? Because I feel like these sort of things, I feel like will not just affect. I think this will be kind of like a trickle down effect. And I believe it has already started, right? Where people will start to use data, I feel, from normal citizens, which they already have, and break what I feel to be human rights violations and break privacy laws. I've started to play with this idea, not play with this idea, but I've started to kind of openly discuss some of my disdain, frankly, on like disclosure of certain things that I feel like are private. People do not need to disclose these sort of things. You don't need to tell your employer your fucking Twitter. You shouldn't be saying anything brazy on the internet, please. You don't say anything that should harm anybody. If my only That's the only exception. If you're saying things that enact violence on other people, like racism, homophobia, transphobia, all of these things, you're out of here. You're out of here. But for the rest, I feel like your information should be disclosed. Your information should be private. You should not have to kind of worry about giving or kind of having your life bleed into this kind of in this kind of way. I feel like it's inappropriate. A part of me wonders, what are we going to start to see with the private peoples? We're seeing this with people who we look up to. They're kind of in the press, they're in entertainment, their imagery, their likeness is distributed, which is why like on lives, like if you guys come to the lives, I discuss like all the peoples, we talk about this idea of being famous, this idea of being very beautiful, this idea of being very, close to like these institutions of like high visibility and power. And like, what does that mean? And what are like the traumas that come with that? What are like the issues that come with stuff like that? In the last live stream that I had where we were just chatting, hashtag I keep my promises. I don't know. We were just talking in the comments about, would we want to be famous? What is that like? What is that like? Like, what is that really like? Is this even something? Is this normal? No. I don't know if you guys saw that Paris Hilton, I think it was like this Vanity Fair ASMR thing where she said that there would be moments when she was younger where she would hear clicking cameras and there was nothing there. There were no cameras there. Really sad stuff. Back to Pop Smoke. I kind of want to let him rest. And I feel kind of uncomfortable. And so while I'm continuing to craft why I feel like, I don't know, is this wrong? Is this wrong? Like, I think it is. I think that there's something about this that is breaking code. Unless somebody has explicitly stated that they don't mind, then I feel like, okay, I feel like we're violating something here. And so I don't feel comfortable. Whenever I see these kind of like, those voice generators, people, kind of rapping as like Jay-Z in a verse generator. There is like an account I'm thinking of where their voice, they really are like a voice, I feel like, actor, and they have a really good impression. In fact, so much so that I have a theory that could possibly be Jay-Z. Like there's sometimes like I just be watching like YouTube live streams of people talking about music industry and stuff like that, and people call in and stuff like that, and I'm like, yo, I swear you're Drake. I know like you either work with him or like you sound very familiar. That's all I'm gonna say. But for people who they're not voice actors and they're not just doing these kind of like impressions, I feel like I don't really like this idea. I don't want to see this sort of stuff on my timeline. I don't want to see this stuff. People send me stuff. As you guys know, I don't have a Twitter. So people send me this sort of stuff. I kind of come across this stuff and I'm like, why am I even hearing about this? Why are people even doing stuff like this? Can you not find anybody else? There are so many people. There are so many people with talent. So many people that want to create and showcase their art and get visibility. They want to get capital to make and distribute their art. There's so many talented people that are alive. There's so many talented people that are alive and writing and ideating and thinking and dreaming and laughing and crying and exploring and really throwing that work onto like the internet in video form. They're writing, they're painting, they're expressing themselves. They're continuously pushing their ideas that transcend their reality, and they are alive. Let me take off my glasses. They are alive. They are alive. Before the fucking world burns down. Can we give them a chance? Can we let these people rest? There's so many people that we could be pushing right now in music. Let Pop Smoke rest. If we need to listen to his music, let's listen to the music that he put out, consented to putting out to the best of his abilities while he was alive. But for the rest, anything past that, we should be looking at other people. I feel like I'm about to cry. Like it's very like jarring. It's like, why? I think is why? Is this necessary? I think not. I don't think so. So that's where I will end this. What are some videos coming up? So I think I'm going to go ahead and probably start rolling out publish. So this is like announcements. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. I think I'm actually going to post this on Sunday, actually, because I will be kind of traveling. I really want to go live, but I'm not on the East Coast right now. So when I was kind of going to, bed, like late time here is like 3 hours ahead. So A lot of stuff has been going on, as you know. Deadline's coming up. I have a lot to discuss because I kind of want to talk about something that's going on right now, and like decisions that I'm making. Hashtag, I feel like I might be transitioning into like a job where I might be working like 12 hours a day. And I'm not even like joking. Um, I counted it. It's like 10 to 12 hours a day. And I kind of want to talk about how this is not a meritocracy and how I don't want to play these games. Like, I don't want to do this stuff. I don't want to work 12 hours a day. That's not really something I want to do. That's not really what I feel like I should be doing with my youth or my time or time at all. I don't believe hard work is a virtue, and I haven't really explained that. So I think that's actually going to be the next video that I kind of film because I have some things to get off my chest. Another video coming on something that I was sent recently from a friend, and I'm going to title the video, My Mother, in quotation marks, because this is not about me, my mother gifted me $100,000. I have some stuff to say. We don't live in a meritocracy. More to come on that. I think I'm going to go ahead and start scheduling some content because, yeah, I kind of want to get back in the groove of things. And I just foresee like the next things are about to pick up in a kind of really busy and strange way. Things that are like out of my control. And so I think I just want to put like contingencies in place because I want to put out my tapes. I want to put out my tapes and I want to hear you guys' comments. So if you made it this far, God, put like a fruit emoji. Because like I feel like I want something sweet. I need something that's kind of like a sweeter tone and a sweeter note. And I'm really excited to hear what you guys kind of think. I think this is kind of like a piggyback off of my thoughts on privacy. I had thoughts about it. I talked about it in a very long video about LinkedIn and how I was interviewed for certain things and how people were asking for like my private socials and asking all this like private information about me that I'm like, what is it? Why do you need this sort of information? Like, if I already have a LinkedIn, which I do. And so it's just like, why? Why are we doing all of this? And why is you somebody who's also a laborer? You are not a means to manufacture. So for the life of me, can you please explain to me why you don't need to do this? So with that, I'm gonna end off here. This has been another one of my tapes. I'm Q, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.